9:58 allowed us to do that. Big news out of the NFL. Got a trade alert. The Patriots are trading top edge rusher Matthew Judon to the Falcons for a third-round draft pick, sources told our Adam Schefter. Judon had not been practicing during training camp. He's looking for a new contract into the 25 season. Falcons and Judon, they've not reached an agreement on a new deal, but plan on working toward one before the start of the season, sources told our Dan Graziano. He's a four-time Pro Bowler, 32 sacks over the last 3 seasons, which could have been more had he not missed most of last year. He had that torn bicep. In that span, Judon has 20 more sacks than any other player on the current Falcons roster. No player has recorded double-digit sacks in a season since Vic Beasley back in 2016.
Meanwhile, still no CeeDee Lamb at practice for the Cowboys. No surprise, since the two sides are not close on closing in on a new deal for the receiver. There is good news, though, for Cowboys fans. All signs lead to a contract extension being done before the 2024 season, and the Cowboys would be wise to, as they plan to go all in. Lindsey Theory with the latest from training camp.
The Cowboys and Rams held a second joint practice Wednesday, their third meeting in only 6 days. I caught up with Cowboys owner Jerry Jones after the workout to ask about the lingering contract situation for receiver CeeDee Lamb. Jones tells me they're conscientiously working to get something done. Jones carefully choosing his words after what he said last week caused a social media dust-up with his star receiver.
Well, I don't want it to be misconstrued. We obviously do this because of how bad we want to be together. I know he wants to be a Dallas Cowboy, and we want him to be a Dallas Cowboy. So I don't flare too much when we see something that might be taken the wrong way. I really don't.
Yeah, we're always working towards our goal. And then I think, like anything, that's the beauty of training camp, beauty of being out here. When we need to, do extra or get more one-on-one attention, and you're able to get that done in, this time of year. So if it carries further, then we'll adjust. All those situations, usually have a different turn or twist and turn. That's just the way they go. So we'll be prepared and ready to work through it.
Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford participated in the first half of the joint practice, but noticeably stood on the sideline for the second portion, a team official citing hamstring tightness. I spoke with a source who tells me that the team does not expect this to be a lingering issue for their quarterback. In Oxnard, Lindsey Theory, ESPN.
All right, thanks, Lindsey. The Rams could be in trouble if Stafford's injury causes him to miss the start of the regular season. Jimmy Garoppolo is the backup. However, he's suspended for the first 2 games due to a violation of the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing substances. The Rams also have Stetson Bennett and Dresser Wynn on the roster, neither of whom have played an NFL game.
The meeting will keep it quarterbacks, and my Minnesota Vikings were dealt a blow with their franchise quarterback of the future. Rookie J.J. McCarthy is going to miss the entire season after having the torn meniscus in his right knee surgically repaired. McCarthy was injured at some point in Saturday's preseason game against the Raiders, which means Sam Darnold will be the Vikings starter moving forward. Here's our reporter, Michelle Steele, with more.
I'm here at day 1 of Vikings-Browns joint practices, and here are some of the words that Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell used to describe J.J. McCarthy's season-ending surgery to repair his torn meniscus. Crushed, disappointed, bump in the road. While O'Connell is fully expressing confidence in the long-term future for McCarthy, this is definitively now, and that includes for the 2024 season. This is Sam Darnold's team. O'Connell spoke to some of the leadership qualities that he's seen so far from Sam Darnold.
I think it's been a process at which, as his ownership of the offense has really gotten to a really good place already, I think he's been able to, from an X's and O's standpoint, lead, which we need our quarterback to do. But at the same time, I think it's just his comfort in how we've built, the atmosphere for all of our quarterbacks, whether it's Sam or JJ. I think it's allowed those guys to have a lot of runway, a lot of ability to just match their work ethic and their daily grind that puts them in a platform that their teammates see it. And then ultimately just going out and doing their jobs, and you stack enough of that together, it starts and looks and sounds like leadership. It starts to feel like that. And then as we get more work together in these competitive environments, starting today, stacking what I thought was a really good performance by Sam to start the game in 12 plays the other day, that's what I'm looking for, and I want Sam to continue to feel comfortable in that role.
Now, O'Connell told me that Sam Darnold will be getting, quote, a heck of a lot of work over the 2 days of joint practices with the Browns. Now, speaking of Darnold, one of his top targets, wide receiver Jordan Addison, was carted off today after leaping for a contested ball. O'Connell said it's his ankle, doesn't look serious, and he is optimistic. In Berea, Ohio, I'm Michelle Steele, ESPN.
Michelle, thank you. The Vikings hopefully no more injuries coming out of training. Let's go back to the NFL. The 49ers still trying to work out a long-term contract with Brandon Aiyuk, but also have agreed to the parameters of a trade that would send the star wide receiver to Pittsburgh Steelers, sources told ESPN. And the NFC champions, they don't want to trade Aiyuk, but contract negotiations have at times been contentious as Aiyuk continues to be a hold-in at training camp. So what exactly is going on? Here's Dan Graziano.
Aiyuk, they're at a point where they're trying to force a decision one way or the other. They know they have the framework of a trade in place with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that the Steelers and Aiyuk have talked about a contract, and so that could happen if he wants. But the Niners have said all along that they want to re-sign Brandon Aiyuk, and they have continued to work on that in recent days. So really we're at a point where Brandon Aiyuk can go back to San Francisco, or he can go to Pittsburgh, depending on where he thinks the best situation is overall in terms of the contract, etc. So it's not necessarily entirely his decision, but we're at a point where it's getting close to that.
More contract drama in the NFL. For the first time since training camp began, Bengals receiver Jamar Chase was not present on the field. The receiver has been a hold-in as he awaits a new contract for the Bengals. However, this twist has many wondering if that hold-in is turning into a hold-out. Here's Bengals reporter Ben Baby with the latest.
Right now, there's no expectation that Jamar will be on the field. Given what we saw on the practice field just across from me, he wasn't out there shagging balls, being involved in team drills, or just watching team drills actively, I should say, because he hasn't participated in practice going all the way back to mandatory minicamp. And we asked Zach Taylor about Jamar's status, and he had a very terse statement, was very short, and just said it'll be something that will be monitored day to day. In fact, team president Mike Brown, right before the start of the season at the media luncheon, said it's unlikely that a deal gets done before the start of the regular season. So that will be something we continue to monitor throughout this training camp as we sensed an escalation.
Thì kích thước tùy ý nhé, mọi người thích cái đồng hồ to thì sẽ vẽ hình vuông to và hình quạt. Em mình vẽ lên đây. Mình sẽ vẽ cái hình vuông cạnh là 11 cm. Mình sẽ đánh dấu 11 cm ở từng cạnh một, sau đó mình nối lại với nhau thì mình sẽ được cái hình vuông nha mọi người. Mình đánh dấu từng cạnh một. Tiếp tục đánh dấu. Rồi bây giờ mình nối lại với nhau, mình tạo hình vuông. Một đường nữa. Cạnh này mình vẽ hơi lệch. Mình chỉnh lại một chút xíu. Rồi mình vẽ thêm một cạnh nữa là xong nhé. Rồi, mình được cái hình vuông rồi, bây giờ mình sẽ cắt nó ra theo mình đã vẽ. Ở bước này thì mình sẽ sử dụng cái kéo cắt họa tiết đi, mình cắt vào đây. Đây, mình dùng kéo cắt răng cưa nhé. Trên thân kéo sẽ có in cái đường mô tả đường kéo khi cắt đây. Thì mọi người nhìn trên thân kéo và mọi người lựa chọn cái loại kéo mà mọi người thấy phù hợp nhé. Nó có nhiều loại lắm, loại răng cưa này, tịch sắt này, loại đường sóng này, đường cong, đường hoa vân vân. Rất là nhiều các cái kiểu cắt. Nên là mọi người thích kiểu nào thì mọi người sẽ nhìn trên thân kéo và mọi người sẽ mua cho mình. Đây mình tiếp tục mình cắt này. Cứ cắt lần lượt từng cạnh một nhé.